All right, so
Tell me what's going on here.
we've got a classic Chinese tea board,
Okay.
and it seems appropriate that we break out the good stuff when we have guests. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, so we've got a green and herbal and a black tea to try.
Okay.
So you kind of slipped and told us that you like Earl Grey, so
Yes.
that's the black tea. That you like jasmine green tea,
Yes.
so we got that. And then we got our best-selling blueberry tea that Augie's calls pink stuff.
Pink stuff. Okay, because it turns pinkish.
That's
or-
right. It has a little hibiscus in it. and
Okay.
That turns it pink.
Right. Ooh, I'm excited.
Okay, so don't put boiling water on green tea, right?
Yes, and
So-
why is that?
Well, because premium teas are picked immature. So the leaves are thin and tender. So I think I was saying earlier that if you take spinach leaves and boil them, you just get something nasty.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing with putting boiling water on top of tea leaves. They cook instead of steep, and you get all
Right.
of the bitterness and so on. And people will say, "Gosh, I don't like green tea. It's so bitter,"
Right.
And I'll be
That
go-
was me.
And I'll
That
go,
was me.
you probably had it prepared incorrectly.
Right.
But
It's
the
a game
second
changer.
lesson is this. This is a scale. And so what we like to do is to make sure that we get things consistent. Like I said, our customers are coffee shops, so they're really restaurants. So they've got to be on it every time.
Right.
So the challenge to them is to produce 100 out of 100 great cups of tea.
It's a good goal.
Yeah, so we say don't
Absolutely.
use a scoop, but weigh it. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to weigh it out. And the nice thing is that it doesn't matter what kind of tea it is. You just use the same formula. You use 3.0 to 3.5 grams per 8 ounces.
Okay, per 8 ounces.
Yeah, per 8
For
ounces.
any tea.
For any tea.
Okay.
So, if you use a scoop, right, some teas are very voluminous.
Yes.
And so you'd end up not getting enough. Some teas are very dense. And so you would get way too much tea if you used a scoop. So,
Yes, I use loose leaf tea at home, and when I fill the tea bags, I question myself every time because I don't know how much I'm supposed to put in.
well, yeah, and sometimes if you're a little heavy-handed, and other times you're in a hurry, and so on. So anyway, we really like the weigh method, and craft coffee. Of course, Third Wave Coffee is our customer mainly, and so the whole handcrafted vibe of weighing and being intentional about the way you make it, that's where the customer's at. So there's our black tea. Now this is something very special. You mentioned you like jasmine, so these are called jasmine pearls. Have you ever seen one of these?
I have. And what's the difference between the pearls and just, I guess,
The tea, the regular tea?
the tea leaves?
Yeah, well, not too much. These are a little different type of leaf because they're kind of long and thin. So they roll up well.
Okay. So is it more for a look or is it for...
It is a what they call a we would call it like a craft tea. So there's artistry and there is technical ability that goes into doing it. So that makes it classic. So anyway, with these, the way they do it, I'm not sure if you're interested, but long and short of it is that they take a big bamboo tray, a big one like this with woven bottom. You've probably seen them. And what they do is they put in a layer of tea leaves that have been sitting out for about an hour after they've been picked, so they start to wilt a little bit. Then they'll put on a layer of jasmine flowers over the top, layer of tea, layer of flowers, layer of tea, and they'll build up a stack. And then this goes into kind of a cylinder, almost like a little chimney, and they let warm air rise up through it. And so the warm air wilts the flowers onto the tea leaves. And that's how the essence of the jasmine is translated onto the tea. So then what they do is they take this stack, they take it out, dump it out, and they sort it out, and they do it again. So for these jasmine pearls, they've gone through that process 3 times.
Wow.
I mean, it's just crazy. You can't do that, and pay somebody $15 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway.
Is it the flower and the green tea leaf in this?
No, it's just the tea leaf.
So when they sort it, they take the flowers
They
out.
sort out the flower
And
petals.
they put new flowers.
And they put new flowers in.
Oh, wow. So it's infused like 3 times.
Yes, that's right.
Wow.
So they only make it once a year because that's when the flowers are blooming, right?
Huh. That makes it seem really special.
It is really special.
Wow.
It is wonderful, and that's part of the world of tea. It's almost like spare no expense.
Mm-hmm. That's neat.
So the one I'm weighing out here, this is our Summit Blueberry. This is like all-time bestseller here. And what it does is it pairs cinnamon and blueberry. See if you can get a whiff of that.
That smells
Isn't that
good.
something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about cinnamon and blueberry, but there's a book called The Flavor Bible that chefs use to create tastes and flavors and so on. And in the Flavor Bible, a major pairing with blueberry is cinnamon.
What else is in there?
Well, there's lemongrass, there's rose hips. We also put in some blueberries. Actually, blueberries go in there. We have the hibiscus, I said, to give it that nice color, you know, and a few other things. I mean, it's not shy on ingredients.
But the main flavor is
Blueberry cinnamon.
Blueberry. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So these are single serve tea strainers, or what?
they're we just call them brewers.
Okay.
So what they'll do is they'll hold the water out of the carafe in the bottom until the tea is steeped.
So after you boil the water, how long do you let it normally sit
Before you pour it?
before you pour it?
Well, I'm kind of pushing the limits here just for the sake of making all this work, you know. Green tea should be steeped at about 175 to 180, something like that, temperature-wise. So really the best thing is to take your infuser or your tea bag or whatever and pour a little bit of cold water on it, and then put in your hot water.
Okay.
That's just the easy way to do it. So what I'm doing here is that this looks like a phone, but it's really a tea timer.
Okay.
And so what we do is we coach our coffee shop customers to coach their customers to do their own steep time. Because really it's a range, and tea is one of those comfort food type things, you know? It's like some people, you know, you're not going to pry their Lipton tea bag out of their cold dead hand because that's the way grandma made it, you know? And
tradition.
yeah, well, it's really true, and we honor that, you know? So, you know, we say a range. So green is 3 minutes plus or minus, black 4 minutes plus or minus, herbal tea is 5 minutes plus or minus. But the thing about green tea to remember is that the essence in the green tea leaf takes 3 steepings to get it all out. So the Chinese say that green tea really is best served in 3 cups.
Oh.
So the first cup is about aroma. So what comes out first in the hot water is the aroma of the green tea, and so we'll sniff it here once it steeps. And in the first cup, it'll have robust aroma. That's what's released first. Second cup, when we re-steep those leaves, taste is robust. But it takes the second cup to get the taste really going. Then the third cup, the Chinese say, is the best cup because it's the perfect blend of aroma and taste, one not overpowering the other.
That's good information, because otherwise, for me, well, I do reuse tea bags, but I think some people, you just use it once and then toss it. But a lot of them, you have multiple uses for one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tea
you know,
bag.
and it's using more tea than you should, really, than that gram range that I mentioned, really doesn't give you a better cup of tea. It's kind of like putting too much coffee in your coffee maker. You don't necessarily get a better cup. You get something that's just a little too intense. Maybe. You know, so now you know more about if you find green tea to be bitter. You know maybe the steep temperature wasn't right, or maybe it was steeped too long, 3 minutes. You know.
Right.
So you're going to be armed and dangerous
I
next
know.
time you go,
I know.
get some tea. So, and then also, I'm using my timer, and I think we got about 30 seconds more. So what tea does, and we try to emphasize this for our customers who are coffee shop owners, is that you have to wait for tea. It's not a grab and go quite like coffee is. And so it's something that really seems to lend itself to a couple of people sitting down, and as they're waiting for their tea, they chat and they get acquainted, and so tea becomes more of an experience, I think, than just simply a flavor, or that I simply take it to get that jolt in the morning.
Right. I like that. There's deeper meanings to tea, or can be.
Yeah.
If you want.
Well, it
to.
seems like it's designed for community, designed for friendship, designed for those things.
And there's your timer.
Here's my timer. So, time to do the green tea. Now, you'll notice that these pearls have started to unroll, but you can tell they're not all the way unrolled. Good thing we don't throw them out, right? Because we got 2 more steepings. So just press and hold the button.
Ooh, that was fun.
There we go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, we think, oh my gosh, that's so light. We should have maybe let it steep longer. No, you can let this green tea steep all day and it won't get any darker. So the trick is to steep to taste, not to color.
That's a good tip.
Yeah. Okay, so this one will be another minute, right? 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes,
Okay.
plus or minus. My wife would go, no, it's 7,
Right.
And that's why we coach coffee shops, as people are picking up their tea. They'll say, okay, start your timer, and then people can dial in what they want.
Right.
A little stronger, a little lighter, 3 steepings, I do 5.
Right.
And you gotta have to, we don't want to make rules.
Right.
What we want to do is we want to provide principles.